Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm here with Harry for podcast 3.
Yo.
We were just talking about the Gotham releasing a 30-second teaser of Cameron Monaghan's final iteration of the Joker. And we were just talking that he's very much disfigured.
He's a balding crackhead Joker.
Yeah, he's balding, I would say as a result of the chemicals that's kind of fucked him over. He would be mid-30s now if they're given the time jump they're doing, and that's pretty much what we were talking about before we started. So what were you going to say before?
Well, I was going to say, because you were talking about how you'd like them to kind of continue the season. The thing with it, and again, I've only seen season 1, which I'll admit I loved.
It's good, yeah.
The thing with it was the fact that they're finally starting to be really on the nose and say, oh shit, this is Joker, this is Batman.
Yeah.
But they hinted at shit in the first season. So I kind of like that. The thing that they were going for, because obviously they didn't have the rights, but they were going for kind of touched on universe where they could still do their own thing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if they do find it, I actually feel like it's kind of a nice place to end it. Whether or not they do it right is another question.
Yeah,
but
I hope they do.
Yeah. But just ending on the Joker and Batman kind of sets up, I guess, what everyone already knows. And so this being kind of an origin series, I think works best like that.
Yeah.
So I think they're doing the right thing. It's just whether or not they can pull it off.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing all the time.
I think the final season should have been extended because it's only, I think it's 8 or 12 episodes, where usually a season's between 16 and 22. So if they had done a full season and have the Joker come in, and maybe if they're going to do 22 episodes, come in at episode 18, that would still give him 4 episodes of 42 to 45 minute content to show him and show him in action and whatnot. Because I feel with most iterations of the Joker, they hint at the extent of which how he's fucked up, but they never go to it. Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight was more psychological than anything, whereas Gotham really kind of shows that. And they did a Killing Joke episode, torturing Bruce with Alfred and paralyzing Selena Kyle, which in the comics is Barbara Gordon. So
and then the torture would be Gordon himself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, just kind of touching on something there, just with the Jokers, what I do find interesting, it's going a bit off track, but just how they kind of interpret him, because that's the thing, the Dark Knight, again with Heath Ledger's Joker, honestly one of my favourites. I like the idea of the kind of anarchist, and he has a kind of normal background from what you can tell.
It's never really
military, something like that. You don't think he's falling to that, he's just putting on makeup.
Yeah, exactly, because just his strategic know-how and the way about he goes his operations and whatnot, especially with the car chase scene, the beginning with the heist, more or less.
Or the one he wears no makeup in the crowd and shoots.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows how to use a gun.
Yeah, he shoots up. I think it was Patton Oswalt who put the theory out, saying that he had a military background or some Secret Service or military training or stuff.
Obviously, probably where he got his scars and went mad from that.
Yeah, possibly, because he hints at different ways he got it. So his father did it to him, or he did it to please his lover, because she said he never smiled, so he cut his face open and whatnot.
Actually, I think there might have been 3. So those 2, and then another one where I think his wife or his lover got, I don't know, it was meant to be Botox or something, some kind of surgery, left it like that, and he did the same. Yeah, that's what. So, because I think the first one is he's saying it to the guy after he comes out of the bag. Yeah, he's at the whole kind of mob meeting. Yeah, and that his father did. Yeah, he did it because his dad said, "Why are you so serious?" And and then the second one is when he's doing it to that's
Harvey's girlfriend. In the ballroom, more or less, and he did it for his girlfriend who had the Botox and wanted him to smile, and did it to himself. But there's no definitive origin of how he came about, because I know the Killing Joke is more or less the more definitive one, but it's still not the actual.
Yeah.
There's no actual origin for him. That's just the main one that people gravitate towards when they think how it comes about.
That's kind of the nice thing, because like it is what they do with the Joker, which is nice. You know, he's too mysterious. He has a whole fuck ton of different origins that no one really can nail down.
Yeah.
Like, I know personally I like the whole idea of his original name being Jack Napier, which is one they've used before. I think they used in one of the original...
Tim Burton one, with Michael Keaton. They used that name,
but that kind of thing. And so I think it is interesting how they go about that, and I do, again, would say the anarchist Joker in The Dark Knight. Again, the fact that he is more anarchist, so more rebelling against government, more chaos against what
he doesn't
could have
care about money or anything. He literally burns a pyramid of money.
That was a beautiful moment.
He doesn't care about money. It's more or less just sending the message as in his own words.
But that's the thing, because like you have that, then say you have, I think it was Jerome and Jeremiah. The fact, what I really liked about Gotham, again, I haven't seen later seasons, but I've seen so much of their Jokers, is the fact that they went around the different versions of him. So like with, versions, I think it was Jerome, they had the cut face.
Jeremiah.
Okay, Jeremiah. They had the cut face, he was really kind of crazy, but that was natural.
And also, right before he dies, he says, "You'll never kill me. I'm an idea. I'm a concept. It's not just one person."
Yeah. And so that's interesting, because there is, nonetheless, we all know the Joker. He's this crazy clown prince of crime, yada yada.
Yeah.
But he does ultimately have so many iterations where you can have the absolute like maddening lunacy of, say, the Killing Joke, like the pure cruelty of it.
Yeah.
Whereas you can go back to like some of the earlier Batman films where he's just kind of a gangster, because in any media, people take that, whether it be comic book or film, people take that as a joke and a different version of it. And like, just because you look at Batman, and in general, you kind of see him the same way. He might have the older version where he's a lot more brutal, say Ben Affleck's version. You have older versions from the comics and from early movies where he's willing to kill. But in general, people have a general idea where he is.
I like the version where he's willing to kill.
Yeah, same, honestly.
Like, I do understand his reasoning not to do it, just because once he crosses that line, he'll never be able to come back, which I can understand. But
it's overused, though, that concept.
Yeah,
because that's the thing. I distinctly remember when I was younger, there was a moment when I realized, I think it's when, because I always thought he killed when I was younger.
So did I. I always thought that he'd kill the bad guys.
And it made sense for his character as well, being that kind of dark, gruesome character. He was almost like Daredevil in that, you know, he was a brutal kind of justice. And I think Daredevil's a good example where you can take that kind of brutal character and take it so far without killing them, since he does go... He more than hospitalized his victims, air quotes.
Like, he has the chance to kill Wilson Fisk at the end of season 3.
He has the chance to kill everyone if he wants
but
to,
he stops just to prove a point, like, I beat you. Like,
I win.
I win.
Lost.
Exactly. Like, he has fucking ropes and stuff tied around his fists as he's weighing into...
Muay Thai wrist.
Exactly. And as he's weighing into Wilson's like face and whatever, but he stops himself and takes his blindfold off, and because he already knows who he is I beat you. Stay down, or I'll go after Vanessa, which is his wife. So like,
when the bad guy finally has something to lose, he's brutal enough to go, all right, I'll play your game.
Exactly.
Two things. One, when he first pulled out those Muay Thai ropes, personally that felt like a cock tease, because I grew up on the Daredevil where he had the massive ropes from his nunchucks, and like, you know, where he'd fly around from building with rope zipping around him. I thought he was going to touch on that. I was so wrong. How?
But I like season 3. I thought it was the best season of all.
Yeah, definitely. Like, that's the thing. Season 3, in my opinion, was the best. I love Bullseye in it. He was... I was so hyped for what they were going to do with him.
I did, Poindexter.
Poindexter. Because I'm a big fan of his character in the comics.
It makes you feel bad for him, though. Like, he's not necessarily a bad person. It's just...
He's fucked up.
He
had a rough... Well, that's the thing. One of the reasons I liked him was the fact that he's always had the similar kind of thing to the Joker, in that he didn't have a definitive past. One that was commonly hinted on was similar to what they did in season 3, where basically he wasn't that young. He was actually a lot older. He was playing like teenage baseball or whatever.
Yeah.
And he didn't kill his coach. He killed the guy because he was bored of the game. Like, he was just bored, so he went, fuck it, threw a curveball so strong that hit the guy in the head and killed him. And that was just the batter. And so, of course, they did a reverse one with this, or ricocheted and hit the coach.
Yeah.
But, of course, he then later on, I think in that same comic, hinted that that was total BS.
Yeah.
So I think he's in this character at the end of Daredevil. They were showing how he got his adamantium spine, which is a big part of his
Wilson obliterated it. Oh, that
he
was...
snapped his spine in half doing what he did.
Yeah, he pushes it against the corner of a wall and you hear the cracks and... Oh, it's like, it's hard to watch. Like, some scenes in the bloody Netflix shows are hard to watch. Like, they're brutal.
Yeah.
Jigsaw's disfigurement in Punisher...
That's the thing, like, any of that, like, I could take the spine thing, that makes me grimace, but I could take, you know, something as brutal as that, I can take the blood and the gore. The only things I couldn't watch from all the Netflix series, Agent Orange getting his eyes gouged out.
Yes.
Both of them.
Yep.
And then Jigsaw having his face run down a piece of glass up into his skin.
Yeah, like, I didn't so much care about what he was doing, it was more just hearing the scream. Like, that's what really got me. Like, you hear the scrape of the glass and the skin, and he's screaming, like...
And he still turned out pretty.
Yeah, like, with some miracle of fucking skin grafts and whatever, he's still... But I like the way
they spent on a guy they didn't even like.
Exactly, but I do like the way they balanced that. They went more for a broken psyche than
the scars were internal.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is kind of ironic, because the thing that Frank wanted him to remember, he fucking forgets anyway in season 2. And he's all confused, like, why are you doing this? And then he finds out, it's like, I'm so sorry, I could never do that. It's just like, yeah, no, fuck off. Dump.
Yeah, the fact that, please, Frank, I'm dying, just lay here with bang.
Yeah, he just kills him. It's like, yeah, no.
So, sorry for anyone who hasn't seen it, but...
Oh, yes, what massive spoilers for things, but... I mean, well, it came out, what, last year now?
Yeah.
Season 2 of... Oh, no, it came out this year, last year? Wait.
Dude, we're on the edge of 2019.
Very late last year, early this year. If you haven't seen it, or you've probably heard the cancellation anyway, go ahead, watch it. But yeah.
With the Punisher, I don't feel like many people see that anyway, so...
Yeah, just because I think it's not their stereotypical hero thing, and also because of its rating, it's quite... I've noticed that there's no DVD of that. There's the DVDs of Jessica Jones, Luke Cage,
Iron Fist,
and Daredevil both seasons, but there's no actual DVD for the Punisher yet. So whether they're going to release one or not, just maybe because of the rating, or I don't know.
I think it's a case of the rating, and a case that he is a slightly more out there character. People loved
he's an anti-hero.
Yeah, he's an anti-hero, and that's the thing. That's my favorite kind of character, an anti-hero.
It's a lot like Deadpool, really. He was quite
Deadpool.
The anti.
Well, that's the thing. Like, anti-hero to me is almost like, you touch on it, even with Daredevil. Because an anti-hero, people kind of take it these days as an anti-hero being someone who kills. And that, going back to our point earlier with Batman, that's kind of what I didn't like. I got to a point where I thought, you know, it was a case, what made the superheroes, part of them, interesting was whether they killed or not. What they were willing to do. And then suddenly, Batman, oh no, I don't kill, and everyone fucking followed the trend. And of course, you know, you had so many reboots of the comics, like how you had the New 52. And so
2 years ago now that was released, or a year
I think
and a half.
It was more than that.
Yeah, a couple years ago. I know there's still...
The New 52 is old.
I think they're still continuing it, which is good.
They've got like the Dark Knight Metal series that's gone on. I know they've got Infinity...
Is that the one that's got the Batman who laughs in it?
Yes.
That is terrifying. Like, the pulp vinyl alone looks fucking awesome, but that's just a terrifying concept. Or just like the way it looks.
Well, that was the idea, because do you know anything about the Source Wall at all?
Not overly, no.
Okay, warning to any listeners, serious comic nerdery coming up. So, in DC, basically, I'd suggest checking out Variant. They're basically a comic book channel that goes over everything, really. But basically, what they've done in DC is they have what they call the Source Wall. It's the reason for like all powers in DC. It's the reason why you have the Flash using the Speed Force. but then also the slow force, no, the sage force
Yeah.
and the strength force and stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
And so in that same sense, like that was just from it cracking. And so Dark Knight's medal, if I remember correctly, they had to get a bunch of special medals together, such as Nth medal. That I think they used to break it. And that unleashed powers from different dimensions, including one of the main things they did with Batman was the fact that they had basically a version of Bruce Wayne from multiple dimensions become a villainous version of every Justice League member.
Yes, I do remember hearing that. Yeah.
So that's where you got, because obviously the Batman Who Laughs is the evil version of Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have, because you have the Drowned, who is a female version of Batman, who basically kills the Earth because of Atlantis. She's like Aquaman, but
the bad version.
Evil female Batman version.
Okay.
Yeah, and they have the same. They have one where they have Batman who takes the what's his name? I always forget. Doomsday. He takes the Doomsday virus to become the evil Superman version.
I did see that,
Yeah, and so they do that for Cyborg, The Flash, Green Light, all of them.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was interesting how they did that. How did I get onto this?
The morality thing about killing and not killing.
Oh yeah, and I think you brought up Batman Who Laughs.
Yes, yeah.
Which very interesting character.
Terrifying.
That's a good thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Just
looks off.
Dude, the thing with the Batman Who Laughs, I don't find him too bad personally. Like he's creepy, but it's the little jokers. It's the little Robin jokers that get me. The rabid Robins he has on leashes.
Yeah. Did you watch the animated?
Fuck no.
The short thing where it actually makes those ones like
I've seen clips. That's the thing. I saw clips of it and I went hell nah.
Yeah, it's
goddamn.
Oh, it's interesting. Like, and you see him as the Joker kind of commands him, and you can see the Robin inside kind of fight back, but at the same time he's still kind of fucked from whatever the Joker's done to him. But
I think that is also a testament kind of to the, because again you look at it with the Killing Joke. I think to just the extent to which the Joker, like his power, just because of the fact that he can fuck them up so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even like in the original way, like one of the first ones was Jason Todd, who of course becomes Red Hood, one of my favourites, again, more anti-hero.
Yeah, Under the Red Hood, did you watch that? Yeah.
I know the story.
Yeah,
I haven't seen too many of the animated stuff, but I know a lot of the stories.
But yeah, Under the Red Hood more or less is how he comes about. It literally starts off with Joker beating him with a crowbar and asking him,
that's the famous thing,
which hurts more, forehand or backhand, is like beating him. And
that's the Joker for you, because that's another version of just the cruel, sadistic nature of him.
Exactly.
And what I find interesting, again, he's a horrifying character, but people still love him, and writers still make him.
Oh yeah, because there's so much to explore. Like the human psyche for cruelty and just pure evil is more or less unlimited. Yeah. Like, so there's so much they can do.
It's also a grim kind of it's the fact that people are interested in it. It's a grim interest. It's kind of like how people
like serial killers, like serial killer documentaries on Netflix, fucking
like I think
stereotypical here, but like white people or white girls or whatever gravitate towards the serial killer stuff on Netflix, and the Ted Bundy stuff. May 3rd, that actually got a release date with a new trailer with Zac Efron's Ted Bundy.
No, Dahmer. Do you mean? Was it Ted Bundy or Dahmer?
Ted Bundy.
Oh, okay.
So that got a release date this morning with a little teaser.
Oh, you're right, because I do remember Zac Efron being it. People were really pissed because he was showing Ted Bundy to be too nice.
But he was.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. People don't want you... Again, people are interested in the series, but oh no, he's taboo, we can't do anything about him. And so, you know, people are instantly... And, like, quite frankly, that's fair enough. What he did was terrible.
Oh, yeah.
And so you see where they're coming from. But to give a realistic portrayal, from what I know of Ted Bundy, he was charming. That's
exactly...
that's why he was terrifying. He was charming.
It was the people who, like, his victims and whatever, they helped come up with his character and whatnot, because they were making the documentary and they talked to the survivors or the victims or whatever the fuck, and, like, saying... Like, they gave them insight on how he actually was, hence why he's so charming, whatever, because that's how he was. That's how they perceived him, as being this very charismatic, charming, seductive person. Yeah. That's how he got away with all the shit he did.
I do wonder, just for the actor Zac Efron,
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going to affect his career, actually.
I think it's good just because he hasn't done anything overly serious.
Exactly, that's the thing. It feels like a powder keg.
Yeah.
Like, because this thing could blow up in his face. Because again, he's doing Ted Bundy, controversial. He's doing him and making him look nice. Again, controversial, but that could do very well for him. If he shows acting chops and people are willing to believe in his acting ability.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing.
Well, none of the roles he's been given have been overly
Exactly.
serious. Of course, he's had the dramatic thing of High School Musical where he more or less was found, air quotes. But,
Okay, but here's the thing. You say dramatic High School Musical. Those don't go together.
Yeah, well, it's a rom-com isn't really is it? It's a rom-com musical.
Yeah.
Musical rom-com is best.
Yeah.
way.
And that's the thing. I feel like he's still kind of got the weight of that on his shoulders.
Yeah.
For kind of his ability and his personality.
Yeah, like that was touched on in Dirty Grandpa
Well, there
with
you
Robert
go.
De Niro. He's singing. And there's a scene in there where he actually sings and everyone doesn't applaud because he's an actual singer, whereas most people,
wow.
when they go up to karaoke, they can't sing for shit, but it's just for shits and gigs.
Yeah.
Whereas he actually gets up there and properly does it, everyone's like,
Oh shit.
what the fuck, you're not supposed to be able to actually sing, you're in a bar. It's for fun, not actually being serious. But yeah, all the roles he's had has more or less been comedy. Like, I think a somewhat serious one would have been Baywatch to an extent.
But even then, it's like Baywatch, Dirty Grandpa. Again, he's hot and he can do comedy. And so he's basically something to either drool after or laugh at.
Yeah.
And so what I find interesting was him doing Ted Bundy. I think that's good for him to branch out. It could blow up in his face though.
Yes.
And why do you still like the idea of the fan cast of him being Johnny Storm? Because it would fit that whole kind of comedy-centered
his
thing, but give him a
persona.
serious role.
Yeah. Like, I think they chose him just because he looks really good physique-wise and facially, and he has the ability to be that charismatic, charming person, which...
You got to work with what he has, because that's the thing. He's charming, quite frankly, he's hot, and so it's a case of working on that.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know the crime boss, James Bulger? James Whitey Bulger?
Nah.
No, more or less a wanted fugitive in America for ages, played by Johnny Depp
Oh, wow.
in a movie called Black Mass.
Ooh, I wonder how that affected Johnny Depp of all.
Yeah, I don't know the...
Oh, wait, did he, by chance... Oh, wait, no, he didn't.
No.
There's something interesting, because, do you remember hearing there was a bar or something? It was basically... It's known as one of the worst places in, I think, New York or something, because it was a strip club for a mob boss in like the early 90s, and eventually became a bar owned by Johnny Depp, I think, for a while, and then something else, and it's famous for being like one of the worst places you can go. Like the shit that goes down there is just fucked up.
Damn, okay.
But nah, so
That'd be pretty
I
cool
don't know
to
if that was related.
Visit.
That's the
Just
thing.
a bit like...
You might walk out losing an arm. That's what I've heard about it, though. That's the kind of thing.
Yeah, no, but when people say fucked up, like, there's so many different... That's
I mean,
a very
like,
broad category, is fucked up.
Okay, well, I'm saying fucked up. I mean, like, when I said it, I think they said, some of the worst go there. So, so you're gonna run into...
rapists and...
Yeah, fucking terrible people.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Which, it's a grim tourist attraction from what I've heard.
Yeah.
But, go there at your own risk.
Yeah, it's like... but yeah, people are obsessed with the horrific and whatnot.
Getting back to what we were saying,
Like, the Jack the Ripper, people go on Jack the Ripper tours.
Yeah.
It's where literal females were carved open and
they were
ripped
sliced open.
Ripped to shreds, and people go there and take photos and be like, hey, that's where that girl got sliced and diced.
Do they know anything about him other than they think he was a doctor?
Some say he was a doctor, some say it was a female. Some
wow.
say the things he did, like the bite marks or whatever he left, was a way of immortality. He was never.
Fuck off.
Yeah, he or she was never caught. I'd say it would be a man just because of the physical strength needed to be able to do that stuff. Like, not saying women are weak or whatever, but like for the stuff he did, like he slit their throat, obviously, which a woman can do, but also cut open the insides and mucked around.
One way or another, and especially when you do say, like, of course, Because these days when women can do that, you're looking back at that time when women were oppressed.
Exactly.
They probably didn't have the chance to build up that kind of strength.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong.
Could be entirely wrong.
Yeah, they're probably very much capable of it, but it's more of a man that would actually go about in doing such a heinous crime.
Yeah, true. You look at, I can see that.
Yeah.
Although, what I always found interesting, because again, kind of looking at that, the darker side, is the fact that, and I used to get them confused, because you have Jack the Ripper, you also have, what was his name? Spring-Heeled Jack.
Spring-Heeled Jack?
Do you not know Spring-Heeled Jack?
No.
Okay, so
Ooh,
he
Alright.
was famous because, they had kind of both of them, and I think they were even around the same time.
Oh, okay. Was that maybe just another name given to him? Or?
No, it wasn't,
No?
because the thing was, and here's the thing, because I remember looking into him because I wanted to create a kind of comic character based on him. But
Yeah.
I remember looking in. He went almost on hiatus for a while. His legend kind of dropped down.
Huh.
He was seen in everything. In earlier depictions, he was like a gentleman, and the thing was, he was a monster. That was the idea. So he had red glowing eyes, sharp teeth. He breathed fire, and he was famous.
Okay. Oh, so an
Spring-Heeled,
monster kind of thing. Oh,
Spring-Heeled Jack, because he would leap almost over houses and fences and stuff.
Shit.
That's why I was
So
famous.
an inhuman mutant or whatever, yeah.
And that's what people thought, he was this walking, talking human monster.
Yeah.
And he originally went from that kind of suit persona to people kind of believing it. And I remember he reappeared later, and he had kind of the whole get-up, because, like, he'd be this slender thing with ranged nails, and he'd have like this evil cape and stuff. And so he was famous for a while there. He was a character in, do you remember Assassin's Creed where they had the two people? It was in like old London.
Oh yeah, the Fry twins.
Yeah, the Fry twins.
Yeah.
He was a character in that. He was a side mission.
Yeah. Wait, was that the guy with the top hat?
Top hat, yeah. He had red long eyes. He was hard to
the
catch.
promotions and whatnot for that.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
And that's the thing. He was most famous for kind of that jumping ability, you know, Spring-Heeled Jack. Also the idea that he looked terrible and he could breathe fire, and that's the thing. He preyed on women, and like, I can't remember. I don't think I looked into exactly what he did, but that's the thing. He killed them, and he probably would have gone nuts on them. So that's the thing. You do have both of those characters. Which
have you ever seen Sherlock?
Which one?
The Benedict Cumberbatch one.
I think I saw the first few episodes when they were originally coming out.
Okay. Did you ever watch the Hounds of
Basketball?
Yeah, that one. Hounds of Basketball. Yeah.
I remember seeing. This was before Robert Downey Jr. and Benedict Cumberbatch. I remember seeing a kind of docu thing on it when I was really young, which scared the hell out of me.
Yeah. Okay. So
I didn't see
drug that was in the fog.
Okay.
Like the guy would see a dog, but because there was a drug or chemical in the fog, it would make him hallucinate that it was a big fuck-off hound. Yeah, the Hound of Basketball.
The Hound of Basketball. Yeah.
Hellboy. Hellboy. Yeah.
Bus just went past with Hellboy plastered across the side.
Massive. That comes out in 9 days.
I need to see that.
April 11th. Yeah.
Nice.
Thankfully, that's not going to be as ridiculously sold out as Endgame.
Yeah, I don't think any movie is going to be for what. We were checking Endgame earlier today.
Tickets and whatnot.
Yeah, I was me and my friends are trying to book it. And basically, if you're going to Hoyt's Carousel, it's, what time is it?
This is in WA, Perth, Australia, just because I don't know who's going to listen to this, but whatever.
It's 12:15, and pretty much all the late sessions have pretty much already been booked out.
Yeah, and the tickets were released worldwide yesterday.
Yeah.
So
last night, yesterday.
Yeah, I saw a thing where tickets were being sold on eBay for $500.
People will buy it.
Oh yeah, just to be able to see it and avoid spoilers on the internet, which, like, I'm in quite a few groups on Facebook, like comic book ones, and I'd say most of the admins will put a thing on no spoilers, otherwise you'd be kicked out.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have seen I think for Infinity War or Captain Marvel, they say, look, no spoilers. This is like, we come together, talk about it, and
but
whatnot.
People are still going to do it nonetheless.
Oh fuck yeah! It's like Game of Thrones. They're gonna
they're gonna go
spoil
nuts.
it, and they're gonna ruin. They're gonna say that Thor gets beheaded or whatever by Thanos' new blade and whatever. That's probably not gonna happen. But anyway,
it was interesting to see. I guess we can kind of touch on the new trailer now.
Yes,
if we want to.
yes. 50 seconds of brand new footage, and it showed so much. Yeah.
I was talking to a friend, and he's probably right about this. There's probably a lot of edited footage in it, though. We do need to keep that in mind.
Yes, they have said they use fake footage in it. So
yeah, they use fake footage, and the fact of the matter is, and I don't know if people realize this, Marvel is famous for editing their scenes when they put them in trailers. Key point, when we saw the Infinity War trailers, he only had 1 stone on the gauntlet. In that exact same scene in the movie, he had 4 or 5.
Yeah, he has 5 because he only needed the time stone, which was the last one, which was the time stone, the mind stone. Sorry.
Yeah, mind stone.
From Vision's head, which he just very gently plucks it out.
Yeah. Also, that speaks to the strength of Thanos, by the way, as well, because Vision was made of an adamantium vibranium mold
compound. Yeah.
Then he also broke Gamora's blade, which in the comics is meant to be unbreakable.
Yeah.
He did a lot of shit. Which I saw a theory which.
Yeah, we do know Vision was incredibly weakened at that point. Like he had the fucking 2 blades in him from Corvus Clave, one of the Black Order. Yeah.
If I can just touch on something, and this is to all the Star-Lord haters, because here's the thing, like I don't get why people were mad at him. Like that is obvious plot.
He let half the universe die over some green pussy.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the hell up! That is obvious plot. That is the only way they can win.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because you look at Doctor Strange. Keep in mind, when he did that, look at how powerful Thanos is. Say they get the Infinity Gauntlet off, what the fuck are they gonna do? Put it on?
Yeah, or they're just gonna try and use it to...
He would kill them.
Yeah.
He would kill them, like, almost, I wouldn't say easily, but he would kill them. He is the Mad Titan. He is easily, in the comics, they've gotten to a point where they show him now, he did kill the entire universe by hand in the comics.
Yeah, exactly. Even without the gauntlet, he's still a fucking force to be reckoned with.
He would have torn them apart, so I say Star-Lord saved them, and also notice how Doctor Strange did nothing when Star-Lord was freaking out.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Doctor Strange just sat back and went, yep, this is going right to plan.
Yeah, because he sees some ridiculous amount of futures.
He sees about 14 billion, something like that, and you win in 1.
Yeah, you win in 1. So obviously he had to hand over the time stone in order for it to happen.
And
which is what Tony Stark didn't understand. Is like, why the fuck would you do that? You've just doomed us all. And he's like, hinting at the next title. We're in the end game now.
Yeah.
That's said twice in the whole MCU. Game. In Age of Ultron, when Tony is talking about up space, is like that up there. That's the end game.
The end game.
Yeah, and little did we know, that's the title. All the people thought it was going to be Avengers Annihilation.
I did.
Yeah, that was a very plausible
that pissed
thing.
Me off.
Yeah, it was very plausible because no one had confirmed or denied it, so that was just Avengers Annihilation, which I thought was still a pretty fucking good title, regardless.
Well, that's the thing. What I felt about it was the fact that I think that sets up 2 different tones. So Endgame is very somber, and it shows. It's more like the way I kind of see it. Annihilation, we gonna kill you. Endgame, we gonna die to kill you.
Yeah, because they said because in the new footage, Black Widow's like, we owe it to everyone who's not in this room to try.
Yeah.
I am curious as to know how much time has actually passed from the snap.
Yeah. Again, I think they'll look at multiple bits. Here's the thing. Okay, quick analysis. So, to start with, I think the Avengers, with Captain Marvel, go up to save Tony very quickly, because...
Or what if she sees him? Because she's still in space. Spoiler alert for Captain Marvel, she's in space at the end of it.
Yeah. Still pissed they didn't do that jacket thing for her. In it, basically, well, that's the thing. She went straight back to Earth, and when you look at them, you saw them all in like the Milano or something like that.
Yeah, in the room.
Black Widow had blonde hair and that.
Yep.
And so, of course, that could be edited, but Captain Marvel was in that as well. She isn't really seen much where else in the trailer. She's
seen. There's only 3 or 2 real points that she's actually in the trailer. One of which is when Thor brings her Stormbreaker.
Yep.
And she doesn't flinch.
I like this one.
She smiles, and that's shown twice at the end of post-credit scene in Captain Marvel. Spoiler. And again in the new footage, she smiles. And then the second time is she's piloting the Guardian ship, which of course is the one from Titan. So that's how Nebula
good point.
and Iron Man get back.
Well, no, that's the thing. What I find interesting is that I feel like they're going up there to save him, because you don't see Nebula or Tony on that ship.
That
you
is
see Black
true.
Widow with the same hair she has
Yeah,
when
but how do
Captain
they
Marvel
get that ship
shows
though?
up.
Because that ship's on
She
Titan.
uses it. She could bring a ship with her. Or, yeah, that's the thing. Again, this is all just off the top of my head. I feel like that's something they could do, just to do it, and then of course they finally come back.
Yeah.
Possibly one thing, looking at some of the earlier trailers, when they're all looking up to the sky when they walk out of the facility.
Yeah.
That could be them seeing the ship come down, or a ship.
Yeah.
In that same looking scene, though, by the looks of it, oh shit! I just realised.
What?
In that same scene, because you have the same kind of footage as where Pepper and Tony meet up, and where... Okay, completely discrediting everything I just said. Tony and Nebula come back on their own ship. They come down to Earth. The Avengers, including Captain Marvel, who was edited out, walk out to the field to see them come down. They land. Tony and Pepper reunite. Nebula sits on the ship with Rocket holding hands.
Yes.
Could happen.
I'd say they all come out simply because it would be something that's just come out of the atmosphere, and giving them, they'd have surveillance and whatnot. So, well, as far as anyone's really concerned on Earth, they haven't seen the Guardians.
Yeah, true.
So they just see an unidentified ship come down.
They do have Rocket though.
Yes, they have Rocket. Yeah,
who
that's
probably
true.
got along. Plus, Thor's seen them as well.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So they could see it. Again, at that point, they'd be desperate, but I feel like, because that looks like it's right after the snap, I feel like at that point they'd be pissed, but they'd be so beaten.
I have a feeling that they're going to do a very quick recap.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully by the same guy from Ant-Man and the Wasp. From Ant-Man, the guy's just like,
That'd be interesting, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Louise, he's calling it.
Yeah, Louise.
Yeah.
You know, in Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows Part 2...
I haven't watched it, sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, right at the very beginning, you see Voldemort get the Elder Wand. I don't care about spoilers if you haven't seen Harry Potter. That's your own problem. It's been out for the last decade. I'm sorry, but like...
no, I don't give a shit.
It's been out
Go
for
for
the
it,
last
dude.
decade.
Yeah, go for it.
You see Voldemort get the Elder Wand, and it's kind of like a... You see little flashbacks of what happened prior. So I think that's what's going to happen, is you're going to see the snap, everyone disappear in like a flashback form, and then I think it's going to cut to Tony talking to his helmet stuck in the ship. I think that's going to be the
good.
first scene. Just because they've said everything they've shown is in the first hour.
Yeah, true.
So I'd say Tony talking to his helmet.
So far.
Everything so far, we don't know about this new one.
Yeah, because that's the thing, that you can see a lot of stuff from there. I don't think they have the third act in it, but you can see everything up to the what it looks like basically the fiery scenes where Cap is really gritty. Ant-Man is doing some kind of pole vault over a pencil.
Yes.
And they finally all walk out. I feel like that's at the Avengers headquarters, where Thanos has come down after they've fucked up his shit.
Yeah, I think they go up in the ship, they fuck over Thanos because you see Thanos' ship, and then I'd say they're getting ready to go out in their new suits, and that beam of light, when you see Thanos come down again, that's when he comes down to Earth.
Yeah.
I reckon. But with his new weapon, the blade, which...
Well, he always kind of had that, it's just that now... Because when you look at him in Infinity War, he's more... I don't know, I feel like he's battle ready in this one, because he's got his helmet on, he's got his battle armor, he's got his sword.
Yeah, because after the first confrontation with Hulk, he takes the armor off.
Yeah,
and that's
because
not even...
he's in his own end game.
Yeah,
like he's kind of comfortably going about it because he knows he's almost done.
Yeah, I thought he'd have it when on the Battle of Titan. But then again, the only person to do any hint of damage is a guy in a tin suit. The only guy who's
Don't knock Iron Man.
No, I'm not. But like he out of like a demigod, more or less, which is Star-Lord.
Yeah, but Star-Lord only has access to his human side in that.
Yeah, I know, but like even Doctor Strange, someone who...
But that showed the most epic...
Yeah. But someone who's actually using a time stone, an Infinity Stone, the only person actually able to draw...
He wouldn't use it though.
Yeah, he used the fake. Or like he just used his power and whatnot, but still, the only person to do a hint of actual damage with just like a tiny cut is Iron Man.
Yeah.
Like of all of them put together, he
Well-
is the only one who's able to actually hurt him
Yeah.
in some capacity.
Well, it's kind
properly.
of the whole thing of like, also the fact that he had a giant meteor come down on him,
Yeah.
and he just went, shook it off and went, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
I saw it was funny.
You throw another moon at me, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
This is the exact line. Yeah.
I saw like it was just it was on Instagram, and it was a post of where like, you know, they finally meet up again, and Tony goes, yeah, he threw a moon at me. Wait, they what? He did what? He threw a moon at me. It broke. I didn't.
Yeah, that'd be-
and that's basically what happened. I think that whole thing of a drop of blood.
I can literally kind of see Iron Man brushing that off. It's just like, yeah, he threw a moon at me, no big deal.
Yeah, he would.
Just as a passing comment to, I'd say Captain America.
Yeah.
Just as like
I can see that happening, and then you just see like Rhodey in the background go, what the fuck? And the rest of them just go with it.
yeah, exactly, because, yeah. And you see the Captain America and Iron Man come together.
Yeah,
in that teaser.
that was cute.
Do you trust me?
Of
I do.
course,
I do, yeah.
The chicken.
First time since Civil War they've been together.
A very nice parallel I saw was they basically reversed the positions from the first Avengers. You know, where they go, you're just a man in a tin suit, take that off, what are you? Everything about you, Rogers, came from a bottle. And that same scene where they're face to face,
Yeah.
they reversed it and
put
have similar stern expressions and say, I trust you.
Yeah.
It's like a parallel to the
What I
original.
did like is when you see Captain America's shield, you don't see the actual symbol, you just see the outline of his shield. You don't see his shield, because his shield at the moment has 4 or 5 scratch marks down it from Black Panther from
Yeah.
Civil War, so you don't actually see that, which whether or not the paint job has now
What's
gone.
with the paint on that motherfucker? Like, goddamn.
Yeah, like whether that's still there or it's been repainted, unless Captain America's gone by the persona of Nomad.
Well, he was doing that for Infinity War.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the Secret Avengers and everything.
Yeah. He doesn't have a beard. No. Where's Lumberjack Steve Rogers?
Yeah, I know, right?
That's his actual look in real life. Like, he prefers to have that
Yeah,
big
I
beard.
know.
That he shaves it all off for thing. Oh, on the side note of shaving, Dr. Phil shaved his mustache off.
Yeah, I saw that.
What the fuck?
He looks like every stern principal from every 2000s high school movie. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's one.
It's the same as like if Steve Harvey took off his.
Yeah, that's just
It's so weird.
It's just the comment above. It's just like, well, I did it, and there's a comment straight after, so it's like, well, put it back.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god.
There's actually there's a video of him. It's just like, you didn't really think I was gonna do it, and then there's actual picture of him with the shaving cream, the razor, and it's actually gone. It's like, well,
Yeah.
I did it. So it's like, well, put it back. Anyway, just on the topic of shaving, but yeah, that's Steve Rogers' actual, Chris Evans' actual look is his beard.
Yeah, which is interesting because I do think it suits him just because I've seen Chris Evans look like that so much.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. The thing with it, like Chris Evans usually just has a kind of shortcut kind of goatee beard kind of thing usually.
Yeah.
The whole kind of grown out,
The lumberjack.
lumberjack kind of thing. I felt like that didn't quite suit him.
It looks a bit different, especially given
Yeah.
the entire MCU. He's clean shaven, clean cut, and the only ones with actual facial hair is
Tony and
Doctor Strange,
yeah.
and Bruce.
Awesome
tiny
facial
bit.
hair bros.
Facial hair
I
bros,
need
yeah.
to see that in
And
this.
Bruce Banner, I think, in Ragnarok. Who's when you see Bruce for the first time, because he's been Hulk for like what, a couple of years. In Ragnarok, he's been a Hulk
Probably
for a couple of
close to
years.
a decade or something.
Yeah, and then when you see him, he's kind of got a little bit of stubble,
Yeah.
but that's to be expected.
Um.
There's no Hulk in any of the promotional stuff.
Yeah, I know. I like that.
Although,
of course, then you look at all the pop vinyls and you have
he's
Professor
in it.
Hulk.
Yeah, but in the new 3 posters they released along with the trailer, there's pictures of the Hulkbuster unit in there.
Interesting.
So whether
I'd say he's probably still using that, and then he finally breaks out of it.
yeah, because
like we thought he
there
would
is
in
a pop
Infinity War.
vinyl of Hulk busting out of the armor of the Hulkbuster unit.
That they recently released, or
They
a while ago?
released with Infinity War. Apparently it was
Okay.
supposed to be a deleted scene, but
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, there was a
Because
pop vinyl.
That's what they originally thought. You might have told me this. That they
think
were
they-
originally going to do that, and then they
Yeah,
went, this
they-
is better.
Yeah,
Which,
so
in my opinion, it is.
I'm curious as to see how that relationship between Bruce and Hulk go.
Well, that's the thing, because I remember I actually really like. How long have we been?
44 minutes.
Yeah.
Keep going. No
I
time.
really like what they've actually done with. I like Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner.
Oh yeah.
I think they've improved him over time because he kind of started off as this cruel, kind of detached, cold guy, and then he's gone a lot softer, which
Yeah.
I think is interesting.
Yeah, 'cause-
Personally, I prefer the colder Bruce Banner.
I do too, because in the beginning of the first Avengers, he said he was at a low point where he put a bullet in his mouth and the other guy spit it out like that.
Well, that's kind of a classic thing. Like, I do love that scene.
Like,
and
that's not exactly a kid-friendly thing to say. Like the fact that he was in such a dark place that he wanted to just
to be
end
frank,
it.
he tried to commit suicide, and Hulk said no.
Hulk spat it out.
Yeah.
Which that's a testament to how strong he is, like, because he would have been able to pull the trigger, it would have shot in his mouth, he would have turned into the Hulk and spit it out.
Yeah. Well, the thing is,
wouldn't that have done damage to him? Like, surely.
It would. Here's the thing, because they have that, I think, as a deleted end credit scene in the Incredible Hulk. They show him in the Arctic. They don't actually show him doing it, but you see him with the gun, you hear the bang, and then you see the Hulk running away.
Yeah,
which was released a while ago. In the comics, there's a storyline where basically we finally went to nuclear war, the entire world is dead, Hulk is the only one left, because in the comics, Hulk, he has a healing factor, I think, about as strong, or maybe possibly stronger than Wolverine.
Yeah, because of his exposure to gamma radiation, yeah.
And so he is extremely strong, and he's extremely invulnerable. And so that's what they kind of hinted on in that storyline, and the fact that you constantly have Bruce Banner, who takes over half the time, and he doesn't have a choice. He doesn't get to choose whether he dies or not. He just lives for, like, millennium. Just on a lone Earth. He's starving, he's dealing with radioactive animals trying to kill him in the night, but the Hulk just won't die.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of the same thing with this. He's too invulnerable to die.
What I don't like, though, and I know they can't do it in the movies because it would be just too overpowering, but most the angrier the Hulk gets, the stronger he gets. And
they've nerfed him. Holy fuck.
Yeah, because like you'd think if they made that into the movie, he would have ripped Thanos apart in the first 5 minutes just because he got beaten, but he'd be ridiculously pissed and keep going.
Yeah, that's the thing. They nerfed his character so much. I think it's interesting because they touched on the idea of the Hulk being scared, or the Hulk thinking for himself and not wanting to be used, which is why he didn't come back out.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because like in the comics, you have World Breaker Hulk, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You have when he went to Planet Hulk and was the gladiator, he specifically, while he was there, he was training against guys just as strong as him.
Yeah, that's what they hint at in Ragnarok, is Planet Hulk.
But exactly, and they nerfed the whole story with that.
Yeah.
Just to show, Thor's a badass.
Yeah, because it is his movie technically, so, yeah.
Well, here's the thing, I remember reading, basically, the reason Thor was used in comics originally, I'd say created, but considering he's actual Norse mythology, I don't like saying that.
He's an actual god, Is, not was, or...
Is.
Yeah, he actually is. He's still...
Because I remember looking it up, because, one of the things that I think does kind of piss me off a little bit, when people are talking about Thor, people look over the fact that he is, to an extent, a religious figure. Because there are people who still believe in Norse gods, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I do think people can be a little disrespectful in that, just when they go too far with some things. Also, just getting back to what I was saying, I remember reading the original reason he was created was to show the whole man over God thing. He was meant to be stronger than the Hulk, which is why he was originally created, so that God, what's stronger than man? A god.
Yeah.
But of course, over time in the comics, they've shown how strong the Hulk is, and that just completely fucked him over in the movies at this point.
Yeah, because I remember, I think it was either Kevin Feige or Taika Waititi was saying that the next 3 movies that Bruce Banner / Hulk were in he'd have his own arc in there, which obviously started in Ragnarok and it will end in Endgame. Because as far as I'm aware, his contract doesn't end.
He's a strong side character. That's kind of
or it hasn't been said that Mark Ruffalo won't return. I know Gwyneth Paltrow Paltrow has.
Um,
Although she has said that she's happy to come back for cameos.
yeah.
But she just doesn't want to be a main thing in any of the movies. But she's
That's
more
fair.
than she said she's more than happy to come back as cameos and whatnot, which I'm glad about.
She said she's happy to be Mrs. Stark or whatever.
Yeah,
coming back like that.
Cameos and whatnot. Yeah.
One thing I find interesting, of course, I don't think they'll ever make a Hulk movie, just because I remember someone doing an analysis of it. People are interested in the Hulk because they get to see some big green monster fighting people. And then people aren't interested enough in Bruce Banner. And so there's only so long you can go watching some monster fight it out.
Exactly.
And they kind of explored that with the Incredible Hulk. What I do think, however, of course, I don't think they'll ever do this, but what would be really smart and interesting to look at was make the Hulk a horror slash psych thriller. You look at the mind of Bruce Banner and kind of you really ramp up the whole Jekyll and Hyde thing. You show maybe even well, they already did an origin with the Incredible Hulk. Either retcon that or do it now and kind of show the tortured psyche slash the horror side of it on the fact that the Hulk himself, I see Bruce Banner as a hero, the Hulk as an anti-hero.
So similar to what would be interesting playing on that idea would be say Scarlet Witch, for example, her ability to control the Hulk in Age of Ultron. But instead of seeing him as a rampage, you see the struggle inside his mind between Hulk and Bruce,
exactly.
They're conflicting things and whatnot, which is cool. But who else has the ability to control a mind in the MCU that's kind of already been introduced, aside from Scarlet Witch? Where the fuck is her accent?
Her accent?
Her accent.
Oh, her accent. Yeah, no, I heard
Where is her
that.
accent? Oh, she started off with a very thick Sokovian.
Which I actually really enjoyed.
Yeah,
I
like,
thought that was good for her character.
Yeah, but then
She just kind of went, fuck it.
yeah.
I think they
She's
honestly
been in
just
the US
forgot about that.
too long, yeah.
Yeah.
What I am interested to see though is if Magneto comes in.
That's going to be weird.
What they're gonna do? Because Scarlet Witch is Magneto's daughter, so is Quicksilver. Well, was Quicksilver.
Well, You have Quicksilver, because you have the three of them. You have Quicksilver, Polaris, and Scarlet Witch. Polaris, who's in Runaways.
Yeah.
They've changed things so much in the MCU. That's a general question of how they're going to put in the X-Men.
What a lot of people were thinking is that the end of Endgame, something's going to happen with the Infinity Stones and it's going to create mutants, but none of that is going to ever come to the surface until they actually start making the movies using
that's a nice idea.
Using the stuff they've acquired.
Yeah.
So something will happen with the stones, like a big explosion or something. Not explosion, but like a wave.
Yeah.
Or something's gonna happen, but no one.
And it'll affect people. That's also a good chance to just pull in characters with really weird backstories that they want.
Yeah, exactly, and.
They could use that for Fantastic Four even.
Yeah.
Say the Fantastic Four in space at the time, instead of the cosmic rays they got hit with originally, they could just do that in this and say it was that.
Yeah.
What?
We might have to wrap it up because I don't know if these kids are coming down here or they're going around. If they're coming down here, that's a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Might have to cut it short. Depends. No, I think they are actually coming down here.
Alright.
Goddamn.
Well, to Blue Ball everyone, interesting stuff on how we've got, how they could bring in the X-Men.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see how they do Magneto, because a big part of his character is the fact that he was in Auschwitz.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want it to be not just like a blast, but like a kind of like a wave. When the Mind Stone gets destroyed, it lets out that energy wave in the trees. So
if you have all six going boom.
Exactly. So just that, and of course it doesn't do anything to warrant any investigation, or whatever. But it affects children or newborn babies.
Yeah.
And that's how mutants.
That'd be a very nice way to do it. I think that'd work.
That's how they bring in the mutants and whatnot for X-Men stuff.
Alright, we've got a pack of screaming kids coming down here, so I think we're going to have to cut things short.
That's alright. What have we been doing? About 54 minutes. That's a pretty solid entry.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yes, these will be up in a couple of days. We'll try and get them up before Endgame, obviously, because a lot of theories and whatnot, so it'd be cool for you guys to hear it. And
that's it.
We'll leave it there. Till next time, guys, stay beastly.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Stay beastly. Alright, yeah.
See you guys.
See ya.